What's up everyone, my name is Eva, welcome back to Polar Topics, and today I have a very juicy r/ProRevenge video for you, which includes multiple people going to prison, and a very angry teenager. Don't get in the way of angry teenagers, just a forewarning. They have some pretty rash and unreasonable thinking, and it's gonna show in this video. The underworld hath no fury like a teenager scorned. It's a long story, spans years of time. Cue hazy flashback to 1997/8. Growing up, my family ran a business dealing with water and wastewater pumps. By the time I was in high school, I worked for them outside of school as needed, and I'd grown up around the industry. At the time of the story, I was 16, maybe 17. I got a few funny looks out in the field sometimes, but normally it wasn't a problem. This time, it was. Many sales they make are bids. You go to the Builder's Exchange, which is basically a library for plans and blueprints. You pull the plans, get to the part applicable to you, and see what they want or need. Then you submit a price you think will win the job. Many times the plans will actually specify a model that meets their needs, in which case you bid that or a comparable one. Other times they will give you specifications and a selection and matching is up to you. Going through books and software for curves, chart that shows how it flows under load. This time it was the former. The job is a retrofit/expansion on the city plant. The engineer has specified a model of pump he wanted, and I had matched its specs. Put in a submittal for approval on the submission as required. It gets approved and we're cleared to enter the bid. We proceed forward putting together the bid. At one point, I have the plans in front of me and I'm looking at the drawings. I don't like what I'm seeing, which is a lot of pipe and a lot of distance. I check and recheck and come up with the same results. The total head is how far you're pumping, calculated by distance and including the losses from the pipe, is too much for the pump that was specified. Way too much. This puts the pump way outside its curve. It's going to be deep into overload. I used my corrected numbers and found a proper match. But not only was it significantly more expensive, but physically different, would require large revisions. So I put together a revised submittal with the numbers I ran and the recommended pump. It included the math from the drawings and the curves. Faxed it over to the engineer's office, then called him. It did not go well. Not only did he not listen to me, he was more than happy to lecture me. How dare I, a kid, tell him how to do his job? No, he would not accept any revisions or submittals. I had no idea what I was talking about, and I, personally, was no longer to have contact on this project. He did not use nice words. This couldn't stand. It was going to cause serious problems down the line. So I did the only thing I could think of. I found the contact for the city planning and told him. Made it about 3 minutes into trying to explain who I was and why I was calling before he cut me off and told me to refer to the engineer and not to contact him again. I tried again for someone else later and did not make it past receptionist. As you wish. I took the revised submittal and filed it in the back of the job file and moved on. I wasn't needed for the rest and had other things to do, plus school. Fast forward almost 2 years, now going to college, still working for my folks as needed. Construction complete, get called in for startup. Goes smoothly as it should, and countdown to destruction begins. I think the first one went after about 3 months. Only made it that long because those pumps were very well built. Emergency ship and replacement, second one a week or 3 after, then another, and another. Then the replacements started failing. The whole time these are being invoiced including emergency shipping and having to run out to start them up every time. They have no choice. This is the model pads were cast for and the pipe running for. You can't directly substitute something else, like say, the correct pumps. Then it gets really fun. They start returning the burnt out units for warranty. The factory starts receiving these and tearing them down for failure analysis. I told our rep straight up that they were being run way outside their design point knowingly. He was not amused. Warranty is denied, and they are billed for diagnostic time and shipping. Manufacturer was in Germany, by the way. Shout out to the fine folks at KSB. Love ya. These units are neither small nor light. Plus, these are being shipped as emergency orders. It's not cheap. Warranty is officially denied to the buyer. We tell them in no certain terms that this isn't a problem with the units. This is now almost a year after the plant was due to come online. Now, everything has really hit the fan. City Council gets involved because this is a municipal plant. Lawsuits are threatened, and council meetings are scheduled to discuss further action. I marked the day and arranged with my teachers to take a few days off. Don't live close to home. Drove 3.5 hours to see my parents and to visit their filing cabinet, right where I left it. Out came the revised submittal, and a quick trip to Kinko's, local copy shop, provided some wonderful blown-up posters of said submittal as well as the proofs behind it. The next day, I drove another 2.5 hours up to said city. Had a lovely meatball sandwich at the restaurant right across the street from the council building, and showed up to the council meeting. I even dressed up nice for the occasion. I didn't say anything to anyone. Just sat in the back of my chair with my rolled up posters next to me and waited. Took about 40 minutes. The council finally brings up the plant. Guess who comes up to testify in front of the council? It's the engineer. He goes on for about 10 minutes talking badly about our company and how we are denying the warranties. Basically states the problem is due to the substitution and that our pumps were standard. This is a loss now counted in the millions between downtime and replacement costs and rejected warranties, labor, etc. Council swallows his BS hook, line, and sinker. He sits down and the council starts discussing amongst themselves. This is my cue. I stand up, approach the podium, and wait for them to notice me. It doesn't take long as I am a teenager in a city council meeting. I introduce myself and unroll the posters. Hi, I'm Crispy Silicone from Going to Ruin Your Freaking Day. Before you proceed any further, you should probably have a look at this, which is the revised submittal I sent your engineer prior to the initial bid. You'll note the date. Also attached, you'll find supporting calculations, relevant drawings from the original plans, and the recommendations of a larger suitable unit. You'll also see the fax acknowledgement sheet showing it was received by his office. Immediately after sending that, I contacted engineer directly and advised him of the issues. He declined. I was told outright to keep my nose out of things I did not understand and to leave engineering to the adults. He was well aware the units would self-destruct if run at this point. After that, I called your planner, who refused to listen and referred me back to engineer. If you'd like, I'd be more than willing to contact our phone provider so they can verify that fax and those phone calls were placed. I'm grinning like the Cheshire Cat at this point, and I'm not holding back the evil one bit. I'm sure I looked like a psychopath, couldn't help it, also didn't care. Dead silence. So yeah, the warranties are void as all of the units were operated well beyond their design point. I still stand by the revised submittal, so feel free to call when you're ready. I'll leave these here. Still completely silent, the entire council looks as if I dropped my pants and mooned them. I wish you had. That would have been great. That would have been a great way to end it. Then after a few seconds, one of the ladies on the council gave me a, "Thank you, Mr. Silicone, you can go." I left my posters on the podium, turned, and walked. Made full eye contact with the engineer as long as I could with that same grin. He looked like he was probably going to vomit. Didn't stick around to check. Stopped by to give my folks a hug on the way back to school, and that was the end of my involvement. I have no idea what happened to engineer or planner, but the city paid every invoice in full without another peep. They had continued to purchase replacement after replacement to limp it along while simultaneously trying to refit the plant. They finally got it fixed after about another year, but by that time, I can't even imagine how far over project estimate they were. So OP, in the situation, was trying to do nothing but the right thing to begin with. And then the engineer felt he knew better than somebody who grew up doing this stuff, have parents who do this stuff, and had the calculations right in front of him. And that probably cost the engineer his job. It cost the city millions upon millions upon millions of dollars. Same with the planner. OP did exactly what he was told to do and tried to do the right thing, but he was just turned down for it. So yeah, I absolutely agree. I absolutely think he did the right thing by just stepping down and afterwards coming up and being like, "Oh, I tried, but your people suck." Beat your ex-girlfriend and make fun of me for being a virgin? Enjoy jail time. Hey all, wanted to share this story with you guys, and thought potentially sending a man to jail would constitute as ProRevenge. I was a co-leader of a clan in Destiny 2 when a new member joined. We will call him Lester for privacy's sake. At first, we got along great. We would constantly talk whenever one of us got on. But I started to notice some red flags early on. He would constantly get furious whenever he would die often, and would throw his controller. He would also complain about his life, how he was stuck in an apartment with his ex, and how it was all Trump's fault. Boo-hoo. Somehow. I don't know how. He was extremely liberal. One evening, we were talking and politics came up. I mentioned I was a centrist. When I did, Lester exploded. He called me a racist, misogynistic, homophobic, xenophobic Nazi. And for the rest of the evening, he started insulting me. But this trend of insulting wasn't a one-time deal. He would constantly join parties with my clanmates and spread horrible rumors about me, how I abused women and secretly went to bad meetings. But it all came to a climax one day. I was in a party with my friend, the clan owner, and Lester joined as well, kissing my friend's butt to get to the same position I was at. We all talked about the clan, but soon enough he started talking trash about me. He even made fun of the fact that I was, and still am, a virgin, which at the time hurt my confidence. My friend, who realized how Lester was treating me, kicked him from the party and the clan. He then proceeded to tell me the truth about Lester. Lester was living with his ex since his minimum wage job could not get him a new place, and he would constantly make creepy sexual remarks to her, and wanted them to get back together. When she said no, he would lash out and beat her. I could have just dealt with being called a loser virgin, but when I found out he was beating his ex-girlfriend, I knew I had to do something about it. So, with a little help from my friend, I found the town he lived in, and then I waited. A few days later, Lester beat his ex-girlfriend again, and I swooped in when my friend informed me. My friend and the ex-girlfriend were really good friends, and she would always text my friend when Lester beat her. So when I found out, I gave his town's local law enforcement a tip about a case of domestic abuse. Soon enough, the ex-girlfriend was texting my friend, who relayed to me that the police showed up to their apartment and arrested him after they saw the ex-girlfriend's bruised eye. I'm not sure exactly what happened to him afterwards, but I did hear he was in jail. I just have one question. How did that friend know the ex-girlfriend? If that friend did know the ex-girlfriend, why didn't he do anything before? Why was, I get this is supposed to be like an epic pro-revenge story, but if that friend was really a friend, why didn't he do anything beforehand? Why didn't he go to the police and tell them? I know you're trying to paint the ex-boyfriend as a bad guy, but it seems that your friend is a bad guy as well because he's just allowing this and enabling it. Anyway, that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed of hearing people get arrested and probably fired. It was fun to read. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and maybe go check out some of our other videos.